Traders count losses as flood sacks Kano's Kenting Quarry Market. ASU declares strike indefinite. Parents and students react. Father of abducted FGC Yauri schoolgirl seeks military rescue operation. Away from Nigeria, at least 15 dead amid fighting in Iraqi capital as Shiite cleric resigns. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. Textile dealers in the popular Kenting Quarry Market in Kano have continued to count their losses following a flood that destroyed goods worth over 200 million naira and over 250 shops and stalls. The over 4-hour non-stop rainfall also wreaked havoc on most parts of Kano metropolitan areas, including major roads and the office of the State Emergency Management Agency. This has been a recurring situation since the beginning of the rainy season, with most of the drainages blocked with refuse, thereby closing up the waterways. Traders in the Kenting Quarry, however, faulted government's handling of the construction of the market, with buildings erected on waterways and roads indiscriminately. SEMA, on the other hand, blamed the traders' poor sanitation culture, which they said led to the blockage of the few drainage systems left in the market. Meanwhile, the Kano state government has said it will soon begin the demolition of structures constructed on waterways following floods that have taken over major areas of the metropolis. The Commissioner for Information, Muhammad Garba, in a statement, he said that the government had set up a technical committee to look into the prevailing incidents of flooding occasioned by the intermittent heavy downpours recorded in the state in the last few days. He said that the government was worried about the occurrence of the floods, which had wreaked havoc on the metropolitan area, including the popular Kenting Quarry textile market, where marketers said that they had incurred over 200 million naira losses. Garba said that the committee had been saddled with the task of studying the metropolitan roads, drainage and culverts in the state of disrepair, with a view to rehabilitating them and reconstructing new ones where possible. The Academic Staff Union of Universities on Monday extended its 6-month-old strike indefinitely until the federal government meets its demands. A member of the union who pleaded anonymity confirmed the development following a National Executive Council meeting of the striking teachers at the University of Abuja. He said the union extended the industrial action after reviewing progress reports on ongoing negotiations with the federal government in the last 4 weeks when ASU rolled over the strike. Last week, the Minister of Education, Adamu, said the federal government had addressed most of the union's demands, including the release of 50 billion naira for the payment of earned allowances for academic and non-academic staff of universities. Now, as the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, announced the extension of its lingering strike Monday morning, parents and students in Kaduna have been reacting to the development, which they say further jeopardizes the education sector in the country. Bello Musa. All right, we'll bring you details of that report later. Now, former governor of Kano State, Ibrahim Shekarau, has formally announced his defection from the New Nigeria People's Party to the People's Democratic Party, PDP. This is coming barely 3 months after Shekarau defected to the NNPP from the All Progressives Congress, APC. Shekarau made the declaration on Monday at his Mundubawa home in Kano. He was formally received into the PDP by the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, and the party's national chairman, Senator Iyorchia Ayu, among other bigwigs. Shekarau also said he had written to the Independent National Electoral Commission to announce his withdrawal from the senatorial race for Kano Central under the NNPP. Now, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has restored the Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, Oborevori Sharif, as the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the state in the 2023 general election. The appellate court voided and set aside the judgment of Justice Taiwo of the Federal High Court, which had on July 7 nullified his nomination on grounds of certificate forgery and perjury. Justice Peter Ige, who delivered the judgment, held that claims against the Speaker are criminal in nature and must be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. He also held that Mr. David Edebe, who instituted the Federal High Court suit, ought to have approached the court through a right of summons to enable the resolution of disputes and not by originating summons where only affidavit evidence is required. Justice Ige therefore affirmed the victory of the Speaker in the May 25th primary election, where he polled 590 votes to defeat Edebe, who scored only 113 votes to come second. The Federal High Court in Lagos has stopped President Muhammadu Buhari and the National Broadcasting Commission from revoking the licenses of 53 broadcast stations in the country and shutting down the stations for allegedly failing to review their licenses. Justice Akintayo Aluko on Monday granted an order of interim injunction following the hearing of an argument on motion ex parte by Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, and the Nigerian Guild of Editors. SERAP and NGE had last week filed a lawsuit against Buhari and NBC, asking the court for a declaration that Section 10A of the third schedule to the NBC Act, used by NBC to threaten to revoke the licenses of 53 broadcast stations and to shut down the station, is unconstitutional and unlawful, as it violates freedom of expression. In the suit, SERAP and NGE had asked the court for an order of interim injunction restraining Buhari and NBC, their agents, from revoking the licenses of 53 broadcast stations in the country and shutting their operations, pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice filed in this suit. Now, Sani Kaoje, father of Farida Sani, the female student of Federal Government College Birnin Yawuri, who is one of the 15 students still in the hands of bandits, has called on Kebbi State government and the federal government to seek military assistance from other countries so as to free the young boys and girls who are still being held by the bandit for a year now, since they were kidnapped from their school. The students were taken to a forest in Zamfara State by Dogo Gide, a notorious bandit, since last year. Hamza Galadima Zuru has more on this.
Farida, a student of the Federal Government College Birnin Yawuri, was kidnapped exactly 1 year ago together with over 60 other students of the school when bandits raided the educational institution sometimes last year. Since then, most of the students have been released, while Farida and about 13 other girls are still in captivity, with their plight swept under the carpet, unlike the cases of other kidnapped girls such as Leah Sharibu, whose names are always in the news. The plight of the SS3 students may not be getting adequate publicity or attention it needs, but the family of Alhaji Sani Kaoje, a farmer businessman, can never forget the ever-vibrant Farida in a hurry, with her memory dominating their thoughts on a daily basis.
Honestly, I am depressed. The whole family is always depressed, day and night. The government did not show any concern at all.
Alhaji Sani Kaoje, the father of Farida, was lost to words as to why the government, both federal and state in Kebbi, decided to treat the case of Farida in such a carefree manner. He pointed out that, apart from the initial visit to the family by the Kebbi State Governor and the Emir of Yawuri, there was no such gesture from the federal government or the Federal Ministry of Education.
Ansang shi Governor. I know that initially the governor tried to secure the release of the first and second batch of remaining students left to their fate in the hands of bandits. They should know that these children are also Nigerians and entitled to all privileges of citizens of Nigeria.
He said the government should just accept defeat and seek for military assistance from elsewhere if the Nigerian security forces cannot do the job of protecting lives and property of the people of Nigeria. Alhaji Sani Kaojo further said there is nothing to be ashamed of, if only to save Nigerians from further torment and disgrace. Alhaji Sani Kaojo further explained that Farida is the 15th child out of the 19 children he has, and she was a very quiet, brilliant, and devoted Muslim who was always striving to make her parents happy. Hamza Galadima Zuru reporting from Birnin Kebbi for Trust TV News.
Road ethics or safety rules are guidelines put in place to protect road users, be it pedestrian, cyclist, or motorist. But how many users are aware of the conventions and how many practice them? In this report, Chiamaka Nwafo takes a look at the road ethics for pedestrians in particular.
The road is a space consisting of many users who sometimes, if not most, will interface with each other. The motorist, who has to drive with the pedestrian and cyclist in mind, and vice versa. There are rules to help keep everyone safe and bring accidents to the barest minimum. To mention a few, use of pavement or suitable footpaths where provided. Walk on the left side of the road facing oncoming traffic where footpaths are not provided. Before you cross a road, look left, right, and look left again. When the road is clear, walk directly and quickly across while still looking out. Use a zebra or pedestrian crossing. There are many of these conventions which even children should be aware of. But how well do pedestrians know the road ethics put in place to safeguard them?
When crossing the road, you should always look left and right. You should always look to see if the traffic lights are the colors like green, red, yellow. When crossing the road, you should always follow the zebra crossing, not like where the cars pass.
I don't know what road ethics are.
I know about traffic lights. When it turns green or red, you should stop. If you are using the pedestrian, I can identify those ones. But I think it's more than that, so I'm not proud to say I don't know. I want to learn.
I know that some pathways like this are made for pedestrians, and also if you are to cross the road, you need to cross where there's a zebra crossing. But maybe unfortunately, some of us don't know this. Even some drivers, when you get to the zebra crossing, that's when they will speed up.
Is there a need to enforce these conventions, and what agency should do that? Certainly not the FRSC, if the SCT sector commander is to go by. He says though the Corps is saddled with the safety of all road users, its core mandate is to the motorist.
Road safety is a collective responsibility. Now, if you look at the Act establishing the road safety, the Act gives power to the Road Safety Corps in the area of vehicular movement. The road safety as an organization does not have the power to arrest individuals.
Nevertheless, the education of pedestrians on road ethics is a work in progress.
A sensitization of Nigerians on road ethics is a work going on, and we still have so much to do, but so much is being done to ensure that people get to know what they are supposed to do while they're on the road.
A lot has been said about road safety without any clear-cut agenda holding pedestrians responsible about protecting themselves on the road. Sadly, there are too many agencies on the road duplicating functions on the same space, and most of the time, not even doing the job right. Chiamaka Nwafo, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how graduates train youths in local trade. Details of this and more after the break.
documenting the Nigerian story.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NORA.
Welcome back. You're still watching the news update on Trust Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Traders count losses as flood sacks Kano's Kantinkwari market. ASU declares strike indefinite. Parents and students react. In other news, about 3 years after the peak of COVID-19 pandemic, which came with series of lockdowns and deployment of several measures by the Health Ministry to curb the spread of the infection and transmission of the virus among vulnerable population in the country, vendors of non-pharmaceutical items are complaining of making little or no sales. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu takes a look at what has become of the COVID-19 merchandise and now reports. Okay, bring you that report later. We'll move on now. The skills of sewing used sacks, used sacks and other leather products is not common in most communities. In this report, the correspondent Abubakar Abdullahi visited a local sack sewing factory in Lafia, Nasarawa State, where an NCE graduate is leading a group of youths to earn a living.
Angwan Makama, where this local sack sewing factory is located, is one of the oldest areas in Lafia, the capital of Nasarawa State, and the most workers here are people who are born and brought up in the area. Mohammed Ubangari, an NCE graduate, is the head of this factory. He said he started learning the trade of sack sewing when he could not find a job after graduation. He said the trade has, however, been rewarding financially, adding that though the trade is not common, he has a quite number of youths and children who are working under him. He spoke extensively on the activities taking place in the factory.
We're getting our own customers, they have brought it for us, we buy it, and some others they also brought their own, we also saw it. And even in our own these premises, we saw it and sell it for who need it. We get many customers from some villages and the part of the boundaries of the Nasarawa State they are buying. Even some people they live in the Benue State, they are buying this thing and spread this thing during some of the dry seasons. Even the rainy season, some they are covering their own materials. They don't want the water they are touching it.
He said the trade has been in existence for over 20 years and many have benefited from the proceeds of the business.
It is the work who also get a benefit because I use this work to assist myself in my own tertiary educations in college education Akwanga, and assist myself with this work. And I didn't marry bait. I get many benefits in this work since I started this working. Why? Because I joined my own educations, joined my own life. I can't bother myself to need a government workers. No, I enjoy this work till my own ending of the life.
He then called on the government and other stakeholders to assist them with industrial machineries to be able to produce in large quantity and faster.
We'll now take a quick break. The news update continues shortly. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying. Now, away from Nigeria, Iraq's political crisis has descended into violence, sparking protests and clashes that killed at least 15 people and wounded dozens more. Iraq's military announced a nationwide curfew on Monday after shelling and gunfire erupted in the Iraqi capital and the protesters stormed a government palace. The renewed violence has sparked concern, with the United Nations and several countries calling for calm and dialogue to resolve disputes. And in sports news, Serena Williams extended her US Open farewell with a gritty opening win on an entertaining night packed with hope and celebration in New York. Williams, who is set to retire after the tournament, won 6-3, 6-3 against Montenegro's Danka Kovinic. A near-capacity 25,000 crowd on Arthur Ashe Stadium wailed on their idol, who responded in typical determined style. Williams, 40, will play Estonian second seed Anett Kontaveet in the second round on Wednesday. The 23-time Grand Slam singles champion, who is one shot of Australian Margaret Countrie's all-time record, is also playing in the doubles alongside older sister Venus. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. Watch more via all our social media platforms, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ila. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.